Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Film Room Podcast. This is episode 28. I'm your host, Joe Baress, along with my co-host, Joby Fawcett. Joby, how's it going?
Joe, it's going quite well. I took some time on Saturday to kind of recharge my battery a bit, but that didn't stop me from checking out the incredible job that you and Tommy Fox did covering all of the outstanding wrestling action over the weekend. I mean, that's nonstop right from the get-go, the opening bouts. And you and Tom put in quite a couple of shifts there, and I certainly appreciate your efforts.
Joby, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'll echo your sentiment. Tom did a wonderful job this weekend. He's a great partner in the writers of wrestling. So I definitely appreciate him. And Joby, there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff to get to today. A lot
There
of
is, Joe. It's
basketball,
like your
as you
Super
know.
Bowl weekend.
Exactly. So, but we are going to start off, as we always do, with an interview from our Times-Tribune Athlete of the Week. We are joined by Juliet Fitzpatrick of Delaware Valley Girls Wrestling. Juliet, how's it going?
Good, thanks.
So what Juliet did over the weekend, she captured her second District 2 title by pinning Honesdale's Madison Miller, who is ranked number 4 in the state, according to PA Power Wrestling, and number 5 in the state, according to PAWrestling.com. She also had 2 first period pins in the quarterfinals and semifinals, and Delaware Valley went on to capture the team title by 3.5 points over Wallenpaupack. Juliet, I was there for it, but I've asked you about it, but a couple days later now, what has it been like for you and the team, to be able to capture this title, for you to get another district title? Hopefully the school at least announced it, your guys' great accomplishment. What have these last couple days been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, surreal. It's definitely super amazing that we won as a team. I'm super grateful to all the girls for, coming through, wrestling their great matches, getting us the points. I did get a morning announcement, which was really nice, along with the rest of the girls. Yeah, it's just almost hard to believe. It feels super awesome as it's my senior year, so it was my last chance. And yeah, I mean, definitely a great weekend for me and the team.
So, Juliet, wrestling for the girls is relatively new, okay, for a sanctioned sport in the PIAA. How did you get interested in it, and how long have you been involved in the sport?
Yeah, so when I was really little, my brother and I tried it for a little bit, and then I kind of stopped wrestling, but my brother continued wrestling like up through middle school, and I started going to some of his matches and stuff to support him, and I just always wondered like what it would be like to try it if I could do it for myself. And then Delaware Valley obviously established their girls team, and one of my friends from the soccer team tried it out, and she was like, you should do it with me, like it'll be super fun. So I started my sophomore year, so this is my third year technically wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a hell of a 3 years, but I want to start with, what clicked for you in wrestling, and what do you love about the sport that made you stick with it these 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is like the community we have with my team. I love my coaches. Mr. Bates is one of the most awesome people I've ever met in my life. His assistant coach, Coach May, is like one of my best friends. And all the girls on the team were just so close, and we support each other through everything. And being able to like feel accomplished, finishing even just a hard practice with all those girls, and then being able to like joke about struggling through it is just such an awesome like experience to have.
Juliet, you obviously had such great success in the sport, but talk about the sacrifices that you have to make when you kind of take on this new sport. And, there are a lot of things that you have to learn and become pretty sharp at technically and physically. Tell me about your journey to where you are now, a 2-time district champion.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing about wrestling, I think, is how long the season is. It's like double the season length of any other sport. And I personally definitely had to learn to develop like a lot more fast twitch muscle that I didn't have, and a lot like obviously always strength build up. And I think, yeah, the biggest thing has been like the progression of like just body awareness and learning how to move so differently compared to any other sport. Like soccer, you never get the type of movement that you need to wrestle. And I think the learning curve for like, obviously when I said fast twitch muscle and like body awareness was something that I definitely struggled with the first few weeks.
Yeah, Juliet, you mentioned the coaching staff. I believe over the weekend they won coaches of the year, and I got a compliment. I should say your head coach Evan Bates, on his celebration when you got the pin. He did some sort of it looked like a superhero leap and punch into the ground, like Iron Man falling from the sky. It was it was pretty it was pretty great. Everyone was excited. I just want to get that from you. What is this coaching staff? What has Evan Bates and brought to you as a wrestler into this team?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's one of the most supportive people I've ever met in my life. He is super invested in everyone doing like the best that they possibly can, everyone being the best wrestler and just overall person that we could possibly be. He has, I think, made me not only a much better wrestler with all of the like technique and just pushing me to be better, but definitely a better person with just like the leadership roles he's like awarded me and the opportunities he's given me to grow as like a not only a wrestler but a person.
So, Juliet, I mentioned at the opening, I congratulated Joe Baress on his wonderful coverage over the weekend because it is such a long and arduous process to cover it. But for you as an athlete, it is also a marathon. It is an incredible test of endurance, both mentally and physically. Tell me about how exciting it was to cap off what is a very busy time for you with a gold medal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely a long, long weekend. And I don't know about any of the other athletes, but getting up for your match and then calming yourself down and then getting back up for your match is super tiring. So after the match, after the finals match, I was exhausted and I have never felt more like exhaustion and excitement than when the pin was called, because finishing off, being able to stand on the top of that podium was like something that was, I almost didn't imagine could happen. And it was just super amazing to be standing there and then be able to win the team award overall and see a couple of our other girls win first was just an awesome way to finish the day.
Joby, I'm glad you brought up the grind, especially in that tournament. Wilkes-Barre is, they've taken on the girls tournament. So there's 3 tournaments happening at once. And as a result, Juliet had about 6 hours in between a semifinal match and a final match, which is insane. So it really is. I mean, it's a testament to you, Juliet. It's a testament to everyone else who wrestled this weekend to keep focus. But let's talk about, how do you this is incredible weekend for you. It's incredible weekend for Delaware Valley, an incredible season for Delaware Valley. How do you, at this point, kind of refocus and prepare for regionals? What is the preparation like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have to get back in the mindset of there's still more to come. I do have practice today, which we're going to go over film and obviously drill. And I think that just being able to get back in the room and probably get some hopefully hard conditioning in will be able to reset my mind in the focus that there's definitely going to be hard matches to come. And I just have to stay focused and keep working.
Juliet, so this isn't a unique opportunity for you. I know. I mean, anytime you're involved in a team sport, there's a lot of teammates involved in your practice sessions, and you do get some one-on-one tutelage from your coaches. Now, when you're one of the champions and you're moving on, there's a lot fewer athletes around. Do you and your coaches meet and kind of set out goals and things and get a little bit more specialized in your practices? I know that's a routine that some of the track and field athletes use once, their teammates are kind of gone on and not advanced to this far into the season.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a super advantage for me that my two teammates right around my weight also qualified for regionals and are super amazing athletes and teammates. And yeah, we definitely hone in on like what type of techniques we'll need to be using, what we'll have like key concepts to remember when in tough matches. And definitely this is the biggest time of the year where we go over like what could happen in overtime and when you want to score your first points and all of that type of stuff.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought up, Olivia Montanino, Kate Pryor, they also captured gold medals over the weekend, and they are close to your weight class. You can name anyone else if you want, but what have the people like Kate Pryor, like Olivia Montanino, how they helped you in the room kind of get better in practice?
Yeah, I mean, both Olivia and Kate Pryor, I think, are two of the best wrestlers we have in the room. Kate and Olivia both are two of the strongest, fastest, smartest wrestlers I know. And they consistently, will go live together. They consistently easily tire me out, make me better, make me have to work. Kate Pryor is one of the smartest wrestlers I think I know. And she and I love to go back and forth and just put each other in not really typical wrestling moves and just work how to get out and how to keep moving. Olivia and I both joined the wrestling team at about the same time, and we've been really close practice partners since day one. And I think both of their strength and really solid ability as wrestlers has pushed me more than anyone else in the room to be better and always have to work as hard as I can.
That's awesome. So, Juliet, I'm going to ask my basic question that I ask all the wrestlers we have on. I only missed one.
Oh, here we go.
In all the roster of athletes of the week we have for wrestling. Now, there's a great movie that was out in the 1980s called Vision Quest. So I'm going to ask, have you ever seen that movie?
So my dad and I have actually been planning to watch it for a while, but I have not seen it yet.
Okay, so that's perfect because now you have not seen it yet, right? So what I will tell you, as this is one of the movies that really had an impact on me, not because I was a wrestler, but because any type of athlete back in the 80s was inspired by this movie. I will tell you, you and your dad will watch that movie and you will come away really excited and pumped up for your next wrestling match. I promise.
I'll add it to my list.
It's going to be perfect. Yeah, it's the 40-year anniversary of it, I believe, Joby, right?
That is correct. Yeah. And again, Joe, you have to remember, I'm not a wrestler. I didn't have wrestling at Lakeland, and the only wrestling that I grew up with was Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. But I watched that movie and I loved it. I just thought it was terrific because I think you can apply the principles to any sport, but certainly the sport of wrestling. I think if you're an outstanding wrestler, you should really watch it.
Well, Joby, you've had a lot of success on this podcast. People know what it is, and they've seen it or they're planning to watch it. So this is good stuff.
I don't know how much of a social media person you are, but let's get that information out there. When you watch the movie, give it a review.
Oh my God.
I will do that.
My last thing for you, Juliet, I promise we won't give you any more homework assignments, but you've obviously been a part of the growth of girls wrestling, even when States was at Central Dauphin High School. You've been a part, you were there for the first PAAA sanctioned tournament at Hershey. Is there anything is there anything you want to see in girls wrestling over the next 5-10 years, and any improvements, any growth? What are you looking to see out of girls wrestling at any level, but maybe the high school level over these next 5-10 years?
Yeah, I mean, I just hope that one day it could be as big and as popularized as the boys. Obviously now it's tough to start up and be as big as boys wrestling is, because especially in Pennsylvania, boys wrestling has always been like a huge, that is one of the biggest winter sports.
Yeah.
But I think that I hope to see girls wrestling eventually get to a point where we could even have like our own tournaments for AA girls and AAA girls, and that I hope that at least my middle school girls who I know and love get the opportunity to be as like, I guess, as involved in wrestling on large scale as boys wrestling is able to be.
Well, Juliet, before I let you go, I want to kind of, just listening to you right there, it's you've been a pioneer. I mean, does that mean something special to you that you and your teammates and anybody you've been to class with, or even the girls from other schools, you have really kind of started the ball rolling? Is that something you're going to hold near and dear to your heart as you move forward in both your collegiate or professional careers?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is such an amazing opportunity to be in this sport, and to be able to say that even just to say that I was at the first PIAA girls state tournament is something awesome that probably most people in girls wrestling don't have. And yeah, that'll definitely be something that I'll gloat about for the rest of my life.
Good.
And you should.
You should, yes.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, Juliet, for joining us. Congrats on a spectacular weekend, and good luck next week at regionals. I hope you make it back to states.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. That was Juliet Fitzpatrick of Delaware Valley Wrestling. Joby, it's just, I mean, we talked about it there, but it's kind of it is an incredible movement that continues. And I've just been happy to be, able to cover it, able to be a part of it. Just watching, even back before, there were these state tournaments. I mean, girls wrestling went to state tournaments kind of all over the place, and now they're in the Giant Center, and it's really been incredible to watch. And you're right. I mean, Juliet's one of the pioneers of the sport, and it's just so great to see the girls in District 2, having that ability of a PIAA postseason. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, Joe, I remember. The reason I bring some of that stuff up is because I can remember when you were first breaking the stories about, because if fans remember, female wrestlers were wrestling against the guys,
right,
for a very long time. And of course, they would be in those lighter weight classes or whatnot. But it seemed like it was, once the ball got rolling down the hill, you had so-and-so is going to sponsor, say it was Wallen Pawpack, Delaware Valley,
right.
Then it was Mid-Valley or Scranton or whoever. They all just started to do. Western Wayne, of course, was a big, big proponent of trying to get girls wrestling sanctioned here, not just in the area, but of course across the state. So listen, I'm always, Joe, I cover girls tennis, girls volleyball, girls track and field, do a little bit of girls basketball, but you're always happy to see these kind of Title IX type of things taking place on the high school level and giving. I have two daughters, so naturally you'd like to see all the female athletes who want to be participating and competing get the opportunity in whatever sport that is.
Yeah, absolutely. And Delaware Valley has done such a great job over the years. I mean, speaking of pioneers, I probably should have asked her about Lily Shearer. Just, an incredible influence, not just at Delaware Valley, but in the state at large. I mean, it's she's just been an incredible proponent of the sport, and had ended up moving on to Lock Haven and having a great career there, wrestling career there. So, and Delaware Valley has kept it going. They were the 10th state to sanction girls wrestling team back in 2021. And they've been a great program, and like you said, Western Wayne followed suit, Walnut Pawpack, Honesdale,
Right.
has some phenomenal wrestlers up there that I'll get to in a minute. And one of them is Madison Miller. And, I expect she's just a freshman and she's ranked 4th in the state. I expect big things from her. Obviously these next, the rest of this season and for years to come, it's going to be great to watch her. But yeah, girls wrestling has been great. And Juliet's pin was really the moment of the tournament. It was incredible.
Well, Joe, again, you have a lot to get to on the wrestling beat.
Yeah.
And look, we may not be able to talk about everything. That doesn't, because there was so much. I mean, you're talking about, 2 classifications in boys, and you have, a dozen wrestlers winning gold medals and people qualifying. And I think you're going to have quite a few of these athletes be quite successful on the state level this year, Joe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're absolutely right. Let's start with Abington Heights' Brian Hurd. The Abington Heights senior tied the District 2 and Abington Heights program records. They're obviously one and the same because Evan Craig in 2010, a Abington Heights great, set the record at 169 wins. Brian Hurd matched that on Saturday. To put it into perspective, Evan Craig had a 169-10 record in his career. 2-time state champion, state silver medalist as a sophomore, and as a freshman, he finished 8th in the state. He finished his career by winning his last 92 matches. I think he went 134-1, I believe 134-1 in his last 3 years in his career. And he was kind enough to, I called him over the weekend. He was kind enough to do a quick interview with me. He's followed, he seems to follow District 2 wrestling to this day, and was happy that at least it was Brian Hurd, another Abington kid who tied him, and it will surpass him this weekend at regionals. He spoke very highly of Brian Hurd, and how could you not? We talk about him all the time here. He's just been an incredible wrestler, and it's really like the way he goes about it. He's so calm on the mat. He's so just, Evan Craig said it himself when he was talking to me. He's just like, he determines the pace of the match. He's always in control. Again, just poised and calm, and there's nothing that really gets in his head, and he's always chasing that next thing. He has clear goals, and again, as Evan Craig said, when you have lofty goals, you end up getting in the record books in ways that you're not even really thinking about. And we talked about that. We asked him here on the Film Room podcast, what are you thinking about, that all-time record? And he was just like, yeah, someone mentioned it to me, and that'd be cool, but he wants that state title. That's what he is striving for. But along the way, you got to appreciate the greatness and the records. So congratulations to Brian Hurd on an incredible accomplishment, and we'll see what happens with him these next few weeks.
Yeah, he's an outstanding young man. Of course, we enjoyed talking with him here on the podcast. Joe, I just can't believe how much work, again, I hate having to pat you on the back so much, but I can appreciate what it takes to cover an event of this magnitude. I've never had to cover wrestling. So, I imagine you were up And you're not an early riser, Joe.
No, I'm not.
I'm not trying to, throw you under the bus here, but our listeners should be well aware of the fact that you getting up before noon is always a challenge. So you had to log a lot of tough days at the wrestling.
Yeah. To go behind the curtain a little bit, I had Tom Fox pick me up and drive me to the event because it'd be easier for me, and yeah, I met I wasn't late getting out of bed, so I was
Now, Joe, you're not even a coffee drinker, are you?
I do drink coffee, but yeah, I did not have any coffee on that Saturday. So, but
For you.
yeah, so, but yeah, I mean, just really quickly, just to put it into perspective, I honestly wish I could have, interviewed more kids. We had in the Lackawanna League alone, we had 16 district champions in boys. I believe we had 6 in girls. I mean, so, you're looking at 22 champions. Most outstanding wrestler for the girls, Sage Oliver from Honesdale. Most outstanding wrestler in boys 2A, Mid Valley's Matt Medina. Most outstanding wrestler in 3A obviously ended up being Brian Hurd. You've got a team champion in Wallenpaupack boys. You got a team champion Delaware Valley girls. You got a team champion in 2A Honesdale. So there's just so much going on, and it was just a lot of running around, and I know you felt this way before, but it's just like you wish you could get to everybody and give them the coverage, but I just couldn't run around enough, and there were there's matches you kind of end up missing and go back, and and it's funny because I saw Juliet's teammate Olivia pin her opponent in her final, and then there was an error in the results, and it said that she won by forfeit, and her teammate Kate Pryor as well. It said she won by forfeit, and it was so hectic that like I was doubting myself that of the match I saw. I'm just like, I swear I saw Olivia pin the girl. I'm just like, what is this? Like, it's just my head was completely spinning, but it's also a credit to the kids. I can't imagine, it's, they'll experience that next weekend too, having a semifinal match and then at 10 and then having to, come back around and have, their finals match at like 4, how to stay in the right headspace, pump yourself up. It's really, really impressive from these wrestlers, what they're able to do. So, it was a tough tournament to cover, but I also want to say it was a tough tournament for all of them and all the people involved, coaches and
the District 2 officials.
Yes. Yeah, seriously. Exactly. They had a long day.
There's a lot of names. There's a lot of data.
Yeah.
And if I could, Joe, I just want to recommend to anybody who does tune into the podcast to please go to the Times-Tribune.com where you have the regional stuff already posted.
Right.
And, because clearly you and I are not going to be able to talk about everybody on the podcast. But
nope.
But if anybody wants to go and find out the information, you have it there, Joe. You're still working.
Still working. Exactly. And the girls central regional bracket has not been posted yet. I'll get something on that when that happens.
And that's where you'll find it, right on the website, or
exactly.
Go to our social media sites where we do share the links to these stories.
Exactly. Joby, just to kind of briefly put a wrap on the tournament, I mentioned Sage Oliver. She was obviously our first Times-Tribune girls wrestler of the year. She tore both the labrums in her shoulders, and so her surgery's scheduled for after the season, yet she won another district title, and she did not go up against, any a slouch in the final. I mean, Isabella Sipe is one of the best wrestlers in the area. She's ranked 9th in the state, Sage Oliver 8th in the state. So this was really a premier match, and they've had some battles over the years. It was a hard fought win. It ended up being a major decision, but it was closer than the final score. So what an incredible effort from Sage Oliver with 2 torn labrums. I don't understand. I would just quit.
It's a different mentality to be a wrestler,
Exactly.
Joe.
You're right. Matt Almedina has obviously been an excellent wrestler, 3-time district champ, 2-time state qualifier, and he earned the most outstanding wrestler in class 2A. That's phenomenal for him. And we already talked about Brian Hurd. So, Honesdale as a team, again, they dominated 4 district champions. That's the most they've ever had in one event. And they had 241 points, which is the most by their team ever. So just a continuation of, greatness for that program. Wallenpaupack captures the team title, their second straight. Again, we talked about depth, and Giovanni Lamonaco won the title at 121, and it was everyone else performed and placed high, second, third, so great job again from Wallenpaupack, once again displaying their depth, how good they were, why they were so difficult to beat during the season. And Delaware Valley girls, as we covered, I mean, this is a big time program, obviously, in the area. They were there since the start, and they're just a great team, and they battled to edge out Wallenpaupack girls, who were the defending team champions. So yeah, obviously I'm missing a lot, but like you said, I wrote 4 stories on Saturday and 1 on Friday. So go to the Times-Tribune.com/sports. You could read all the coverage there. Joby, we had some basketball last week, and we have some basketball coming up.
We do indeed.
Big finals. I definitely want to mention, though, Maggie Coleman of Abington Heights girls basketball. She had 40 points in a game last week and 12 3-pointers.
That's an incredible week.
Those are insane numbers. I know that it's obviously NBA, the highest level of competition, but even there it's 14. I mean, getting 14 threes is the record. I mean, Maggie had 12. I mean, that's insane. That's insane for a high school game.
Yeah. No, she had a terrific year and a terrific career. I believe she was all region last year too, Joe, when I was on the girls basketball beat. But yeah, I'm actually more familiar with her work in track and field, but
that's true.
Certainly an outstanding season for her and the Lady Comets. Now, they were not able to advance to the district final, however, this year, but she did have a terrific game in that quarterfinal against North Pocono.
Absolutely. So, Joe, we've had, I want to say that Leah Traver had her 1,000th point out of Elk Lake, and
she reached 1,000 points in her career and 500 rebounds for her career as well.
Yes. So congratulations to her.
Joe, and I think one of your favorite players during the course of the year, Honesdale's Natalie Goldstein, reached 1,000.
She did. You're right.
I kind of figured that was coming based upon the numbers she was generating throughout the course of the year. But she's only a junior too, so Joe Reno's the coach there at Honesdale now, and she had a really terrific junior year. And again, a team that did not advance to the final, so they won't be playing at Mohegan Sun Arena this weekend, but we certainly want to point her out as someone who reached a milestone as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for getting that, Joe. And I feel bad. I've been really removed from everything else.
Joe, listen, I'm going to ask for forgiveness from our social media audience because I literally turned my phone off on Saturday for reasons only known to me and don't really need to be known. But so, yeah, we had some of these kids reach these great milestones, and obviously we had some team champions in wrestling And I normally am kind of sharing that information even on my days off, but Saturday I could not. So I felt a little out of touch yesterday when I arrived home later in the evening, and I kind of sifted through the materials to kind of get ready for the podcast and to also kind of get myself back in the swing of things. And I felt bad that I hadn't done any of that social media stuff, but we'll get back onto it this week, Joe, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Joby, we've got we got a bunch of district finals.
I don't think anybody missed me, Joe.
There's so many people. We fielded so many calls. Where is Joby?
Where is Joby?
Oh my God.
Missing.
Joby, I don't know if there's anything you want to touch on from last week in basketball.
Well, what I want to do, Joe, is I think, because again, we're kind of trying to shoehorn in so much information for people. We don't want to bore you to death.
No.
So here's the thing. We do have clearly a very busy week this week.
Right.
And we have 3 championship girls, 3 championship games on Thursday, 3 championship games on Friday, and 5 championship games on Saturday.
That's right.
Okay. All the Mohegan Sun Arena. If you remember last year, Joe, we were up a week, not a week, but several days. The last day of the tournament was on a Thursday because Mohegan Sun Arena had been booked for I want to say they had some hockey to be played.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Or something else at the venue. But we're going to be going from Thursday to Saturday. And you know me, Joe, I'm there when the closing time has already been played and the lights are going off.
That's right.
On a Saturday night. So I have been known to have to work from the parking lot on Saturday night while the arena is closing down. So yeah, we have quite a bit on our plates here this next couple of days. And with all of those games, there's 11 championship games. That means we have 22 teams still alive. We also have 2 boys teams playing Tuesday night. Again, we're recording this podcast on Monday. So Dallas and Wyoming area will be playing for the 1 extra state playoff berth that District 2 is awarded in Class 4A boys. And Joe, I don't know if you saw the list because you were so busy with wrestling, but there's 8 Lackawanna League boys teams still alive in district finals coming up here this weekend. All the usual suspects are playing.
Yep.
We have the much anticipated rematch, the 4th showdown between Riverside and Holy Cross.
Right.
To kind of lead things off in the boys basketball side of the tournament. That's a Thursday night game, 8:00. And then we've got, I'll stick to the boys for right now, Joe, then we'll kind of go over to girls. We've got Abington Heights, the defending champions, going against Pittston area on Friday at 8. Okay. Yeah. Then on Saturday, we get right back to it. We have the 2:00 game, which is going to have one of the real feel-good stories of the basketball season, Lackawanna Trail taking on Old Forge for the Class 2A championship. Joe, I know this is kind of weird for me to say, but I keep bringing it up and I can't wrap my head around it. Lackawanna Trail was 2-65 over the last 3 seasons.
Wow.
Lackawanna Trail's in a District 2 championship game this year, 13-10. Great turnaround here. Okay, then at 4:00 we have Valley View Scranton Prep 3 for this season. It's also the 3rd time that those 2 teams will meet for the District 2 Class 4A championship at Mohegan Sun Arena. So bitter rivals there. And then in the boys, we're still awaiting the opponent, but Scranton was able to scratch out an overtime victory on Saturday. That was kind of the game where I got peppered with a lot of correspondence, Joe.
No, really?
Yeah, because, it's Scranton and it was a tight game. It was against Williamsport, and normally I'm on site, but I wasn't.
Right.
But terrific game by Scranton. And Joe, I want to point something out, okay? And I think I did this last year, but I wanted to do it again this year. So often when we get into this basketball tournament, right, in boys basketball, we often bring up the tremendous championship traditions of programs like your own, Holy Cross, Abington Heights, the teams that kind of yearly are in these championship finals or winning championship finals. Scranton Prep, okay, winners of 7 of 8 in Class 4A. And we just tend to always seem to overlook Scranton.
Yeah.
I want to say this is 8 straight district championship games for Scranton.
Wow.
And they're going for their 5th title in a row.
Right.
So great job for Tony Battaglia. Now, for people who may not realize, he's about 4 wins shy of 400 for his career.
Wow.
For years, how many you're so quick, and we rightfully so. We said we point out the historical relevance of a career like Kenny Bianchi or Al Semenza, who's at Pittston area. He's got more than 5 wins in his career.
Right.
Al Calais Sr., who we know so well and you know so well, had such a great run at Holy Cross, And if to go further back, even you talk about the Jack Farrells of high school basketball. And we sometimes don't include Tony Battaglia, and I think we have to start doing that. I mean, he's going to have 400 career wins.
Yeah, that's something you absolutely have to keep an eye on.
And keep it, not only that, but competing in Class 4A / Class 6A. Scranton has always been in the highest classification.
Exactly.
Don't forget. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea where we're headed with the boys basketball. Now, Friday night, I did take in Scranton Prep and Wyoming area, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Scranton Prep looked really good.
Yeah.
Really, I'm impressed with what Larry Regan has done with this team. Okay. Scranton Prep was the preseason favorite in Division I and got off to that 3-5 start. And you know what the fans are like, Joe, at Scranton Prep.
Yeah.
The what ifs start coming out and, what's going on with this team. This team went to the semifinals last year. How could they be 3-5? And they righted the ship.
Yep.
Okay, now they're 18-6. They're going to the state tournament and going to be playing for the district championship again at Mohegan Sun Arena this weekend. So great job there. That was a very impressive performance by them offensively and defensively in that game. Joe, the game was over in the first quarter.
Yeah, I was going to say
24-4 in the first quarter.
Oof. Jeez.
So they're playing at a very high level now. They're going to play a Valley View team that's equally determined and inspired,
right,
and motivated. And you know why, Joe? Because Valley View plays Scranton Prep extremely tough.
Right.
Okay, they're rival schools, whether people believe that or not. They just are. Have been for a very long time. It's hard to kind of define what Scranton Prep's true rival team is. Many would say Abington Heights. I would argue it's Valley View, but I could be wrong. That being said, two years ago, Valley View had swept the season series against Scranton Prep, or was it last year? Wait a minute. No, it was a couple of years ago, and lost the district final to Scranton Prep.
Yep.
Okay. Last year, Valley View was in the lead late in the fourth quarter and lost to Scranton Prep in the District 2 championship game.
Yep.
And now this year, Scranton Prep handled them pretty well in the first meeting. In the second meeting, needed a late game 3-pointer from Jack Maloney to eke out a 54-51 win in a game that Valley View led the entire way until the final shot. So
right.
this is a bitter rivalry. This is going to be a good one on Saturday, so we look forward to that as well. Now, Joe, I have to, full disclosure, I'm not as in tune or up to speed on the girls tournament as I probably should be, just because we've put that beat into the capable hands of Scotty Walsh.
Scotty Walsh, yep.
And he's done a great job kind of taking it to where we're at right now. But I do know this.
Mm-hmm.
We have a terrific, the order of the games always boggles my mind with the girls. I think we have the 1A final MMI Prep in Susquehanna on Thursday at 4:00 or something.
Yeah.
And then we have the 5A final at 6. Joe, is that right?
That is, it's the 4A final. The
4A final.
Prep Valley View.
Then we have Scranton Prep Valley View and the girls. Okay, right off the bat on Thursday. What a great lead-in that's going to be for the Riverside Holy Cross game.
Absolutely.
Two terrific teams there. Both went to the state playoffs last year. Scranton Prep went to the state final. Valley View won a first-round game in the state playoffs last year. So, again, we go back to that rivalry. So that's on Thursday. So that's your schedule for Thursday. And then Friday, Joe, please help me if you can.
Yes.
We have to squeeze a 5A game in here somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let's see.
Well, that is the 5A on Saturday.
5A is on Saturday, actually.
Saturday. Okay, so we've got So we've got 3A girls and 2A girls. Is that how it works?
We've got 2A girls on Friday at 4. That's your Mountain View Elk Lake. And we've got 6A girls at 6.
Right, undefeated Hazleton area. Right. Okay. Yeah. Again, forgive me. I don't have the girls memorized because I don't have to be on site for the girls, but I'll try to be there. But
Joby, you can't do everything, man.
Well, we're going to try. They tell us we're going to give it a shot here, so we're going to try. Because don't forget, Joe, I do have some obligations in the morning with some swimming, which we'll briefly touch on. But so I'm looking for that Elk Lake Mountain View girls matchup. Joe, is going to be something. Elk Lake has swept the Lady Eagles in both meetings of the regular season, and if you remember correctly, because we've said it about 24 times here on the show, Mountain View went to the Class 1A final last year, and I would argue this Elk Lake team got pushed to the limits against Holy Cross in the semis. But what I would say is Holy Cross won the state playoff game last year in 2A. So I think we're going to be looking at these two teams, Mountain View and Elk Lake, having an impact in the 2A state playoffs as well.
Absolutely.
So that should be a really good, fun final there with that kind of Lackawanna Division III rivalry. And do you get a better high school girls rivalry than what Dunmore and Holy Redeemer have put on the basketball court the last couple of years?
Absolutely.
That's going to be a terrific final to kick off the 5 games we have on Saturday. So, and then what do we have? Then we do have 5A on.
Yeah, 5A will be at 6 o'clock on Saturday.
That's what Dallas and Crestwood.
Dallas and Crestwood. Yep.
Yeah. So some great basketball. Listen, if you're going to put in a shift on Saturday, I welcome anyone to try to do it. 5 games, they're outstanding. I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably, again, I have to go to the swimming in the morning, I guess, Joe, because nobody wants to throw me a life preserver.
Yeah.
And then we're going to try to get back and do some basketball as well on Saturday. So that then people wonder why I needed a day.
A minute. Yeah, exactly.
Should be some good stuff, Joe. This next couple, and again, I believe District 2 gets a minimum of 2 qualifiers for every classification, with the exception, of course, we have that third place game coming up on Tuesday.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
and we're going to make some noise, Joe, in the state playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. We're gonna make some runs. Joby, I think Thursday is a good day for my dad to go down to the arena. What do you think?
Thursday? Yeah.
Yeah, a little Scranton Prep, Valley View girls and Riverside Holy Cross boys. I mean that might be a good.
That's a marquee. You put that right out front.
That's right.
You could put that on the billboards and everything else. And the reason I would say that, again, Joe, I don't want to put the cart before the horse because I never want to do that.
No.
Well, Scranton Prep's girls already went to a state final.
Right.
We know that last year.
Right.
Holy Cross boys went to a state final last year.
Right.
And I'm telling you, these 3 programs, and again, Valley View's going to throw its hat in the ring too, and their girls are going to win, possibly a first-round state game again.
Exactly.
Those are 4 outstanding teams.
Exactly. So it's going to be, follow along with us for everything. I mean, we're going to have, to touch on wrestling quickly, the Northeast Regional tournaments are all this weekend, girls and 3A boys and 2A boys. I'll be at the 3A tournament at Bethlehem Liberty High School, and Touchdown Tom Fox, as you call him, will be at the girls tournament. That'll be at the Central Regional, and we will both be keeping an eye on the 2A tournament in Williamsport. Should be a really good weekend for us. I mean, we've been talking about, our big time wrestlers all year, and, it should be a fun weekend. I expect a lot of success at regionals and moving on to states as well.
Joe, you and Tom Fox better pack lunches.
You're not kidding. You're not kidding, Joby. So yeah, that'll be going on. You mentioned the swimming District 2 Class 3A and 2A championships. 2A will be at Wilkes-Barre at 10 a.m. 3A will be at Wilkes-Barre area at 5 p.m. So just a ton of stuff.
Joe, we want to congratulate too the divers. I don't mean to interrupt you
Yeah.
there.
No, you should.
Was over the weekend.
There was kind of an upset.
Well, again, boy, I covered diving, of course, and Ethan Horitz is an incredible diver. He's got a Division I scholarship. He's going to Loyola.
Right.
Okay. And we talked a little bit about this last week, Joe, where if you miss a dive,
right,
I know it just really knocks you for a loop. You get a score of 0
right,
out of dives.
Right.
And then I had a chance to glance at and again, all credit to Micah White, who came on. And Joe, if you remember, I mentioned that he led the Les Richards diving championships all the way up until, I want to say, dive 9 or 10.
Yep.
And he had an insufficient dive, or, he didn't have a complete failed dive. And he was able to kind of hold on for third place in the Les Richards. He went from first to third. And then Ethan Horitz had similar circumstances. He just had a failed dive, which is a 0. And it knocked him from, out of the contention for first place, and Michael White wins it from Abington Heights. But with Ryan Horitz in the mix there, they swept the podium again. 1, 2, and 3 there for Abington Heights. So congratulations to them. I do feel a little bit bad for Ethan. He doesn't get a chance to go back to the state championships where he finished 7th last year. But Michael White is certainly an outstanding diver in his own right, and he's going to represent Abington Heights in District 2 quite well. And then I believe, Joe, you'll have to help me out a little bit, because River Strauss from Tunkhannock won the 2A.
Yes.
Championship. And I want to say Megan Kuzma from Dallas.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. Yes.
2A.
Absolutely.
And our female 3A champion was Lady Kate. I don't know, Joe.
I know. This is fair. I do apologize.
Well, it's really my fault. I should be on top of it.
No. This actually, it goes to show, not to make excuses, but it goes to show you how busy of a time that this actually is. Well,
Joe, I'm always willing to make excuses for myself.
Me too.
Again, I was out of the loop for a great deal of time on Saturday and Sunday.
Exactly.
But so Williamsport won the 3A diving. That's why I'm not.
That's right. Oh, that's it. Yes, that was it. Yes. That's why
that's why I'm a little short-sighted on that.
It was Williamsport. That's right. Clover Lindsay.
Yes.
So congratulations to Clover Lindsay.
That's a sub-regional, by the way, and that's why that happened.
There you go. Yeah. So.
Hey,
I knew well, you know what? That makes sense, Joby. That's why we didn't know.
That's right. That's why I explained to people. Sometimes it just doesn't click.
Exactly. Wasn't our diver. That's why it didn't happen. So, but anyway, geez, Joby, on top of everything, the Oscars are next weekend, next Saturday.
And Joe, isn't your big predictions column coming out this week?
That's right. It'll be coming out on Sunday.
Who do you got? Joe, don't give anything away.
I'm not going to give anything away, but I will. What I will say is that I don't know. I just this feels like one of these years, and maybe I'm going to end up being wrong. It feels like one of those years where I don't think anything is really straightforward. I don't think we really know what is going on. That's not to, set the table for me in case I miss some picks, but it's really, Conclave won the big award last night at the SAGs.
SAG awards were last night, were they not, Joe?
Exactly. So, Conclave wins the cast award, the big award of the night. Ensemble. I'm sorry. That is the word I was looking for.
So I always like the SAG awards. Is there any more pompous award presented to people within your own profession?
That's right. Exactly.
SAG award.
Yeah.
We vote for ourselves.
That's right. Exactly.
So it's like when we do these. Okay. So the SAG awards remind me of when we're picking, but the coaches are picking the league all-stars.
Yes.
And they inevitably ask me every year, even though it's right there in print,
Yep.
Please do not vote for your own players. They want to know why.
Yeah.
Because the SAG Awards can. You can vote for,
That's
I'm
right.
good. I'm a good actor. I deserve the SAG Award.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. It's Conclave was a big winner last night. Timothy
by the way,
Chalamet won for Best
yeah.
Actor.
By the way, Conclave, unfortunately, we may be living Conclave here very shortly.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Apparently,
Exactly.
the Pope's not doing so well health-wise. We wish him well.
Wish him well, absolutely. Going into last night, it seemed like Honora was on track to win Best Picture. It picked up some awards along the way that would lead you to believe that. But yeah, it's we'll see. I mean, a few years ago, Parasite won the big ensemble award at the SAGs and then ended up taking Best Picture. So I think it's very wide open. So we'll see. It should be exciting. But yeah, absolutely. Look for our picks in Sunday's paper.
And Joe, let's give credit to Rebecca Kivak also. She's out there helping you out. You guys are a tag team here. This is not just you up there on a pedestal.
Yeah, I was just about to say, absolutely look for her picks as well. She's been a great help during.
You're going to be a guest of mine on this show next week.
Exactly.
Cleans your clock.
Exactly. Yeah. When she goes perfect and I go 0 for 6. So that'll be great. So yeah, I mean, busy time, but a fun time and, a lot to look forward to. So with that, I think we will sign off, Joby.
All right, my friend. Thanks for having me. Very fun show today. And listen, we're going to be extremely overworked in the next couple of days, but I'm sure that we'll both be heavily rewarded in the days to come.
Absolutely. You know it, Joby. You know it. Follow along the Times-Tribune, the Times-Tribune.com/sports. Follow us on Facebook, Times-Tribune Sports, and Instagram. Follow Joby's Facebook page. He shares everything. Joby Fawcett, the Times-Tribune. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of content. Be sure to follow along. You won't regret it. It's a lot of good stuff from these